So what kind of person that you want to be like and that you want to spend time with. So I probably had the most in common with Rennie. We share a sense of humor, you know, and had some talents and you knew it, but occasionally you could doubt yourself in different times, which is true for most people. So probably closest to Rennie, but he's far more, he's far better problem solver and probably far better person than I am. Who else has a question? In the pink.
Did you like school?
Did I like school is my question. You might not know if you read, you know, if the fact that the first book is about an institute that is full of nasty people and the things that you learn are absolutely ridiculous. And the character named Constance says that, you know, exactly, yeah, somebody's quoting from the front, rules in schools are tools for fools. I don't get 2 mules for rules. But the fact is, I did like school mostly. I liked to learn. I was a really good student, and so I liked all the different subjects that I learned and so on. Certainly there were plenty of problems in school. I wasn't always happy, but I did generally like learning things. Who else has a question? Thank you guys for waiting. Girl in the light blue with a little red on your shirt, yes?
Yes, how do you
Yeah, so the question is, am I writing any other books besides books in this series? And yeah, I'm working right now, taking a lot of notes on 2 different books that I have yet to quite get going, but they're books for readers your age mostly. They're kind of adventure books that have mysterious qualities to them as well. Plus, I used to write for adults, and I intend to write, and I've published a book for adults. I tend to write more for adults as well. Who else has a question? Boy in a green jacket sitting in a chair. Yes.
When did you make your first book?
The question is, when did I make my first book? Great question, because they're actually, depending on what you meant by it, I could give you a couple of different answers. How many here want to be a writer yourself, or consider yourself writers?
Nobody raise your hand.
A bunch of people do. Well, you might find it of interest. Hello? Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Hello?
Yes. Hello?
Hello? You might find of interest that it's the case for most people who write books, that you write more books than you end up publishing. Because you learn through the practice of writing. So you might write a book and try really hard to make it good, and you learn a lot about writing books by doing it, and there are really good things in it, but overall it's not really good enough. It shouldn't be published. Most writers who publish books have done that. So in my case, I have written more books than I've actually published. So I wrote stories when I was your age, and I wrote my first book, which was not a good book. You'd be glad it's not published, when I was 22 years old, thereabouts, for took me a couple years to write. The first book that was published was my book for adults, and that was published in 2005. So you can do the math. That was maybe 30 years ago. Thank you, people who are paying attention. Yes, boy in a white shirt over here. Yeah, it's you with blue stripes and so on. Do I like being a grown-up? It depends. There are. What's that? You know, sometimes I like being a grown-up, but often I don't. Often I just want to run away and hide. It's true. Who else has a question? Yes, blue jacket.
Is there going to be a movie for the books?
The question is there going to be a movie of the books?
There already was.
So here's the way that the movie world works. Many of you know this already. Some of you don't. If you've written a book or a script, a screenplay, sometimes a production company might not buy the rights to make a movie. They'll pay you a little less money or a lot less money, depending, for what they call an option. And that means they pay the writer a certain amount of money, and they say, we have the option, if we can get all our ducks in a row, we get a director or some other screenwriters or some other producers involved, to then pay you more money, buy the film rights, and make the movie. If they pay you for an option, you can't, during a certain period of time, you can't sell the film rights to any other company. That's very common. It's very common for people who get an option on their book or the screenplay, never to have a movie made. They never actually get the film rights sold. But sometimes the production company will end up buying the film rights and making the movie. So the Mysterious Benedict Society has had a couple of options on it, where producers have said, we would like to have some time to see if we can get things together. And then if we can, in a certain way, then we know we can make the movie, we'll buy the film rights and make the movie. In both cases, or 2 or 3 times it happened, that the option time expired. So there have been a lot of people who have been interested in it, but the ducks have not quite lined up in just the right way yet, and quacked in just the right tone of quack, apparently. So there are people who are interested in making the movie, but it just hasn't worked out quite yet. So you never know in the world of movies, but there seems to be some general opinion that it will eventually at some point get made. We'll have to see. Who else has a question? Girl in blue shirt right here.
Do you like dogs
So this is a tricky thing. I got asked in that interview that shows up on the website if I like dogs or cats better, and I said it was a tie. It really kind of depends on the mood. And then they raised the stakes and said, you know, small dogs or big cats. And I feel like it's a little bit misleading because I said big cats, but I wasn't really thinking about big house cats. You know, when they said big cats, I was thinking like leopards and big lynxes and so on, because I find those to be really interesting, right? But I do actually, and little dogs can be really yippy.